All right, this is Glenn Gross, and I'm using the pass-through features of the MetaQuest 3 headset. And I don't know if you can see the room that I'm in. I'm hoping that you can. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this video if all you see is black, but I wanted to show you. I just printed this document. It's 609 pages, and what it is Nicomachus's Introduction to Arithmetic. And the reason I printed this, it's going to be really interesting to look at, is that it turns out that this is the guy who first talked about Pythagoras. So a lot of what we know about Pythagoras, the famous leader of the school that used music as a form of religious worship and worshiped the numbers, the various numbers, associating them with musical tones. The reason I'm really interested in this is because Pythagoras used just intonation, and I've been fascinated by a video I saw from Tim Smolens where he puts the circle of fifths against the tempered scale. It's actually he puts the overtone series against the tempered scale, so you can see how much each of the 12 half steps differs from the justly tuned interval, which is really quite fascinating. I'd like to show you that. So for the hell of it, let me see if I can pull that up. I'll bet you I can. So I'm going to start with, I need the web browser. So I'm firing up the web browser on the MetaQuest 3. And this is just like any other web browser. I should be able to search here. This is a virtual keyboard. We'll search for Tim Smolens. Tim Smolens. And I'm going to say YouTube, because I know he's got a YouTube channel that's probably not restricted, even though he has Patreon also. So I'm going to do Tim Smolens YouTube and see what comes up. Okay, Tim Smolens Music, he has 8,000 followers on his YouTube channel. So I'm going to go right there because this is where the video is that I found so fascinating. And I'm not going to play the whole thing. I don't even know if it's going to let me play it. But I wanted you to see the one that got me excited, which is something he posted just recently. So if I go to videos, we'll see if he's got this on the YouTube channel. These are all things he's discussing on his YouTube channel. Interesting stuff, really. Different chords and so on. But the thing that really grabbed me was his most recent one, in which he talks about the relationship between the temperate scale and the overtone series. And I'm not seeing it up here. This might be it. The secret chord. This looks pretty similar. Okay, I'm not going to go there, though. I'm going to go to, because that's 6 months ago, I'm going to go to my Gmail, just for the heck of it. I don't think he would mind if I gave you a glimpse of what he's doing in his Patreon page. So if I load up Gmail, there's no direct link, so I'm just going to type it in. Okay, here's Google's Gmail. I have two-factor auth, so it might prevent me from logging in. So I think what I'm going to have to do is log in so that I don't display my password to you guys. I'm going to have to log in and then come back. So hang on there. I'll be back shortly. Okay, this is the email that the link. I'm going to click on it. This goes to Tim Smolens' presentation that I really liked. I'm going to go to the beginning of it.
Because 24. I don't think anyone's going to join me today. And it's probably my own fault because I've been irregular with these things, or maybe it's a bad time.
Okay, well, I like the fact that he's going to keep on going, even though no one's attending his webinar. And, because actually we're dealing with asynchronous time here, and people can get just as much out of it after the fact. So I'm going to skip to the section I think is the most interesting. And it's this drawing that he does right here. This drawing right here. And I could let him talk about it, but instead I'm just going to describe to you the thing that grabs me about it. Notice that he has the circle of fifths like this, and then for each point in the circle of fifths, he's showing what overtone it is, what multiple of the fundamental frequency lines up with that tempered note. So the tempered notes are on the inside, and the overtone series is on the outside, or harmonic series if you prefer. And notice he tells you like how much it differs. Like C is, right on it, right? But if you go to C sharp, it's the 17th overtone, and it's 5 cents sharp. So there's various reasons why it has to be sharp, in order for all the 12 keys to work. But like those of us who play brass instruments know that when we play the third of a chord, we have to lip it down, and he's got it notated here. It's 14 cents. The overtone itself is 14 cents flatter than the tempered note, so that's why we have to lip it down. All right, but notice these numbers right here. He says 1 for C. Then for F, he says -3. And the reason he says -3 is that when you take the overtone series and you divide the string into 3 parts, then you get the perfect fifth. So the ratio is 3/2. And so the F is actually a perfect fifth below C, and that's why he uses -3. Then when you get to G, which is the 5 chord, and the 1-4-5 chord is pretty common in the blues. The G right here is represented by the number 3. So these are really like logarithms, but the way he thinks you multiply in order to go up multiple intervals. So he points out that 3 times 3 is 9. And that's how we get a perfect fifth above G. This is when I thought it was really, really interesting. I like a lot of the things he discusses here, but especially this idea of multiplicable intervals and also negative harmony. And these are valuable concepts to learn. Negative harmony was introduced by Ernst Levy, and it's a powerful technique to use to understand the symmetry in scales. But I'm fascinated because I wanted to learn what's the relationship between the Pythagorean tuning and the tempered scale, and he gives a very good presentation here in detail. I'll let him talk a little bit so you can hear the type of discussion he's going to go into here. And you can get this too if you subscribe to his, I think he calls it High Castle Conservatory.
Life, sure, there's some room for interpretation, but there's also, there's also a lot in there that you can really start to learn, like, the third harmonic creates what we call a perfect fifth. How many of you know how important a perfect fifth is to music? It gives us, other than an octave, it's the next most consonant note. So I'm playing C.
And he's going to go on in a lot of detail. As you can see, this is 41 minutes, this presentation. I don't want to steal his thunder, but I wanted to recommend this presentation to you because it's what got me going. And indirectly, it's what caused me to print this 600-page book. And the reason I printed this thing is because I did a little research with ChatGPT, and I found out that actually we don't know that much about Pythagoras, the guy that was responsible for the Pythagorean tuning, and systematizing a lot of what became the foundations of music, except through his students. And the earliest reference we have is Nicomachus's Introduction to Arithmetic. Now, I'm sure I could find a hard copy of this somewhere, but it was translated, I think, by Martin Luther from the Greek. And what I was able to do with ChatGPT's help was download the PDF of a translation that comes from the University of Michigan that's on Google Books, and then that was in English, and I was able to use software to convert it into text so that I have my own text version here that I can edit. And so like if I was to read from this on the page I happen to be on, page 332, it says, "So it is with the foregoing sciences. If geometry exists, arithmetic must also needs be implied, for it is with the help of the latter that we can speak of triangle, quadrilateral, octahedron, icosahedron, double eightfold, or 1.5 times, or anything else of the sort which is used as a term by geometry. And such things cannot be conceived of without the numbers that are implied in each one." So he's talking about why we study the numbers first. And so that was the way the Greeks thought. They started with the numbers, and from that they understood music in a very profound numerical way, which I think Tim Smolens is doing a good job here with his Tim Smolens Music website. So I went ahead and subscribed. I also subscribed to his Patreon at the lowest tier because I'm looking forward to learning more about this. But in the meantime, though, I'm going to be studying this text, which is a fascinating text. Lots of information here about math. But what I want to do is find out what and how much does he say about Pythagoras. Is there anything remarkable about Pythagoras and Pythagoras' understanding of these integers, essentially, which can form the foundation of our blues if we think of C as 1 and then F as -3, meaning it's the third overtone, third harmonic, but placed below the starting point of C. So F is a perfect fifth down. And then over here we have G, the 5 chord, which we use all the time in our 5-1 progression. And, all the various cadences, like at the end of every symphony, you hear 5-1 pretty much. Well, that's +3. So we go from 1 to -3 to +3 and then back to 1. And Tim has a philosophical discussion of this too, which I find interesting. So I just wanted to share this with you, and hope you enjoyed this. And I'm going to bring more instructive, informative content like this as time goes on. Right now, I'm still testing the usefulness of this headset. You could probably see my reflection in the iPad screen there. That is the MetaQuest 3. You can tell by the 3 cameras. So it's those 3 cameras that are making it possible for me to record this video while I sit in my room. And by the way, if you get one of these, the entry-level price has dropped from $500 to $400 on these. And I think it's money well spent because of the capabilities. It essentially replaces a PC. But I want you to know, don't take these out in the sun, because the sun in less than 2 minutes can destroy these lenses, and then your $500 is just out the window. I don't know anybody that replaces the lenses. So that's something really to think closely about. Don't accidentally go outside with this thing, or else you'll be out your investment very quickly. So anyway, this is Glenn Gross signing off. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.